Paladins is free right now on consoles as well, and here to discuss with me is Zach Sharps, because you played a lot of it already. I did my toes in it as well. It's of course a kind of Overwatch style team-based shooter, but this one is free and they do have a lot of different mechanics, right? It's not like a lot of people look at this and say, oh, this is Overwatch, but it's not really the case, right?
Yeah, it for the most part is inspired by, obviously, but it's not necessarily the same game. It's the same genre. That's really what most people will see and be like, oh, it's a copycat. No, it's just a different type of game and, you know, the same genre. Just like you would see like Call of Duty or Battlefield and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, so it's a really fun game, and they welcomed already 8.5 million players on the PC.
That's insane.
And so I'm sure that the console is also doing really well because it's been blowing up on the PC for a while now. So
yeah, totally. And I mean, if it just launched on consoles, I mean, it has a bright future ahead, right? They of course also have like esports going on, but first, like, why do you think it's fun? Why is it cool to play? And does it maybe stuff better than Overwatch, or are there things that are worse? I don't want to compare it to Overwatch that much, but it's just that a lot of people, I think, will compare it to that. And yeah, because there are mounts, for example, in the game. There are trading cards that you can collect, that are the kind of items that you have in a MOBA. Of course, in a MOBA, when you go back to the base, you can buy new items. Well, now you have like a trading card type of kind of deck that you have at the beginning of your game. There are loot boxes as well. But yeah, can you tell me more just about what you think of the overall game?
Yeah, and then on top of the trading cards, you also have the shop as well, which you could sort of specialize your character. So like if you want to do more shield damage, if there's more shields on the enemy team, you can sort of spec in that. Or if you want to get health every single time you get a kill, you could spec into that. Stuff like that. So the reason why I think the game is fun is because it has very fluid gameplay. It has very varied gameplay. The shooting and the gunplay and all the skills and abilities are very satisfying to use. When you are playing the maps themselves, when you're playing in them, you'll notice that there's a lot of verticality in them. So they definitely have some heroes or champions that can specialize to be able to utilize that verticality. And there's also areas where even people who don't have the capability of normally just jumping up to that location, they could still get up there via the means of like portals and whatnot. And so there's a lot of good gameplay design, a lot of good map design, and there's a lot of champions. There's currently 24 playable champions and a lot of customization for them, including you know, the normal cosmetics like costumes, weapon skins, so on and so forth, even like voice lines and, you know, emotes and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. The one thing that I also like that hits the nail on the head for me is the game mode itself, where you go in, you try and capture a point, sort of like domination style, and whoever captures that point gets a point. And it's out of 4, so whoever hits 4 points first wins. But that point then spawns a payload to whoever captures it. Then you try to push the payload to the enemy base to get another point. But if you're stopped, then the enemy team gets a point. And so you sort of create a stalemate there, where one team can capture the point but they can't deliver the payload, and the other team can defend but they can't capture the point. And then it really comes down to who captures the last point, and it sort of makes it feel a bit more like King of the Hill in that sense sometimes, rather than sort of, you know, deliver those payloads. So it changes it up a good bit from the standard formula. The only knock I have on the game is the competitive play. It requires way too much for you to get into it, and even though I played it a good bit on the PC, like around 20-30 hours, I didn't have any sort of, you know, aspirations to play as many heroes as they wanted me to play. Like, I maybe like dabbled with them like 1 or 2 rounds, and then I was like, okay, I know what this hero does, I don't like its playstyle, I'm not gonna play it. And they force you to play those heroes because there's a limitation on how many heroes. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm saying heroes, and I know it's champions, but heroes is just used everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
So that's what I'm using in this case. But it requires so many of them at a certain level that it's just like, okay, well, you know, what am I supposed to do? Meanwhile, you know, I'm sitting in casual getting gold medals across the board, not having any challenge whatsoever. And that's also the aid of on the console. The aim assist system is like an aimbot. They really need to reduce it substantially. And I know some people may be mad about me saying that, but when I could be completely drugged in my mind because I had surgery the other week and still get gold medals across the board, barely even trying, there's a problem. So there's certainly some things that they could fix on the console end, but for the most part, it's a very fluid experience that I think a lot of people are going to love, especially if they might be a little bit bored of Overwatch and maybe want to dabble in another team-based shooter that is similar in some ways, but also very different in others.
What I find interesting, and that's what I really like about this game, is that it's more a shooter in terms of how fast the enemy dies. In Overwatch, it can, sometimes take a while, I feel, but here, it really, if you have one in your sight and you're just doing pretty well, it just can be over like really soon. So I think the gameplay is in that terms also pretty fluid. So really like that. Yeah, there are a lot of characters to play. It's really free to play as well, right? It's you don't really have to pay to get an advantage, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you can obviously pay to unlock particular champions. You know, they have like a free lineup and everything. But when it really comes down to it, the progression system allows you to unlock those champions fairly easily. And if you want to give them, I think it was like 15 bucks on the PC, maybe 20. I'm not sure if it's the same on the consoles. You get all the champions from here until forever. So it's really cheap and generous in that sense, because they know that you're going to want to buy skins, you're going to want to buy you know, weapon styles and whatnot. You're going to want to buy things that are cosmetics for these heroes because you're going to really love them. And then also maybe you might want to, you know, get like boosters or, you know, stuff like that as well, that might allow you to progress your character level-wise quicker, which doesn't really give you an advantage, but it allows you to sort of progress your account to unlock other things as well. And I did check up on the competitive requirements, and at least as of late 2016, it was 12 champions to level 4. And some people are like, oh, you could do it in a day if you wanted to, but I personally, if I play a hero, usually I already know what they kind of do. I don't really care to play them more to understand them. So yeah, I just don't like it, at least in that regard, because I'm a competitive player. I love playing competitive, so.
But if you buy then the Founders Pack, because I see they have a Founders Pack for Paladins up, it's $20, €20, and you get like all the current and future champions, 10 chests, and some skins as well, and a mount. So it's pretty generous, like you said. But then you can hop into the ranked, right?
No, because you still have to level those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So if you go in completely free to play, you're going to have to, of course, unlock the champions on top of getting those 12 to level 4. So that's where that hurdle also becomes a bit more of a detriment to competitive play for people who play completely free to play, who don't want to purchase that Founders Pack to unlock all the heroes. Because if you unlock all the heroes, then you don't have to worry about the progression in that angle. You can just focus your efforts on, you know, finding the 12 that you really want to get to level 4. So
yeah, I really like it. That 20 is just simply not a lot for all the future heroes as well. So you're just done for like ever in terms of that. So
yeah, they did the same thing with their MOBA Smite as well. I think that one was 30, though I might be wrong. It might have just been 20 as well.
But there were more heroes like for that game, right?
There's of course now. But when it originally launched with that particular concept, it was about the same.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, the game has no PS4 Pro support right as of now, but I still think it looks fine.
That's what I played it on.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, maybe you can hop on, do the boost mode. I don't know if you did that, but
yeah, I did.
I think my boost mode is always on, but I still never really experienced any frame drops or whatsoever. So it's just a fun game. You can try it now for free, so why not do it, right? Let us know what you think about Paladins in the comments down below. If you have any questions, maybe Zach in this case can hop up and answer them. So thanks a lot for watching. Like the video if you did, subscribe for way more gaming discussions and maybe Paladins content. I'm really looking into it and really liking my time with the game so far. So might be doing more, and maybe we can discuss the game in the future if something interesting happens. Well, Zach, thanks a lot, and we will speak to you next time.
Yep. Take care.